me again.
What? It is on to you. It's just very choppy and laggy. If anything, we might want to turn off the video, but I don't know. I'm really getting angry with my...
No, you don't have your...
service provider.
You don't have your stream going to me.
Oh,
so
I got
can't
you.
See.
I got you. But Discord is still red for me, and it's really making me flipping angry. I'm ready to switch. Okay. I'm just about ready to switch to Zoom.
Well, we'll just keep going until it gets better, I guess.
I guess. Either that or we may need to switch to Zoom. Like, I don't know about both.
I don't think it's Discord that's the problem.
Yeah, it's definitely Discord because I have a red connected actual recording.
Whatever.
Anyway.
We'll figure it out.
Dirty Cops, Truthout, Indie Media Award honoree.
Yeah, but...
Dirty Cops. Police are abusing civil forfeiture laws to seize cash for themselves. I have no idea if Reef can hear this. So, Crystal Starling awoke to banging and shouting on October 29th, 2020. The police smashed open her apartment door in Rochester, New York, and ordered everyone on the ground. More than 2 years later, Starling is still fighting to recover over $8,000 that she lost in the pre-dawn raid. What? Yeah. What the fuck? This case is one of thousands, showing the need for Fifth Amendment integrity restoration, FAIR Act, which is House Resolution 1525, a bipartisan effort to curb forfeiture abuses nationwide. I mean, we know cops steal, but Starling saw firsthand what can go wrong under current federal laws. Officers with the Rochester Police Department came looking for her then boyfriend, who was suspected of selling drugs. He was sleeping in the apartment. The only other occupants were Starling and her nephew, a child that she's cared for since he was 10 months old. Right? So the police found no drugs in the apartment. But the search produced something else. While rummaging through cupboards and drawers, officers found Starling's cash in a bedroom dresser drawer and pants pockets. Okay. Starling, who owns a hot dog stand, had earned the money through legal labor and was saving to buy a food truck. She never consented to her then boyfriend's alleged activities, and the police didn't accuse her of any wrongdoing, but they seized her money anyway. That's fucked up. Initially, Starling thought the setback would be temporary. Quote, I hadn't done anything wrong, she said. She told the Institute for Justice, I wasn't arrested for anything. There were no charges brought against me, so I didn't see a reason why I wouldn't get my money back. All right, I think maybe you're back. I don't know. This was her first mistaken assumption. Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, it looks like you're somewhat good. But through a process called civil forfeiture, we know the government can take and keep cash, cars, and other valuables without convicting anyone of a crime. Practice dates to medieval times, but was popularized and expanded in the U.S. as part of the war on drugs in the 1970s. Under modern rules, guilt or innocence can be irrelevant. The government pursued civil forfeiture against Starling's cash, even after a jury acquitted her then boyfriend due to lack of evidence. He was acquitted and still kept her cash. Are you kidding me?
Doo-doo.
Right? So, nice. Property owners who face civil forfeiture must fund their own defenses, and Starling couldn't afford an attorney. So she represented herself. Local officers had seized her cash, so she thought her court battle would occur in Monroe County under New York laws. And this was her second mistaken assumption, because through a law called equitable sharing created in 1984, state and local agencies can outsource civil forfeiture litigation to U.S. attorneys. These prosecutors use federal laws that offer property owners fewer protections than New York and many other states. The result is a massive loophole in state laws. If participating agencies don't like civil forfeiture reforms where they live, they can partner with the federal government and bypass them. Once the process ends, federal agencies take a cut for themselves and return the rest, up to 80%, to their state and local accomplices. I mean, this is a total jack.
So you have you have agencies that like So essentially, it's a department can just go around the fucking what?
They make it federal. They
Um,
kick it up to federal, and now it's a whole different thing.
so like even if you have a law that says you can't, right?
Mhm.
Like right.
So the Rochester Police Department took this route with Starling's money, and by the time she figured out the jurisdiction, the clock had run out on her claim, and she lost her money by default without ever seeing a judge. Rather than accept the violation of her due process rights, she took her case to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Our public interest law firm, the Institute for Justice, represents her for free. This is from Dan Alban and Daryl James, who published this article. H.R. 1525, which Representatives Tim Walberg, which is a Republican, and Jamie Raskin, a Democrat, reintroduced on March 9th, would help end cases like this. Of course, the Senate, I'm sure, would never do this because they love stealing money from poor people. But the lawless seizure and forfeiture of people's private property by police officers is becoming standard operating procedure in many parts of the country. We want to restore the presumption of innocence, fair justice, fair judicial practice, and the opportunity to be heard. And that's Jamie Raskin, who I don't agree with on a lot of things, but I certainly agree with that. On top of the fact that I don't want them stealing their goddamn money for any reason.
Baskins?
So, among other reforms, the measure would abolish federal equitable sharing. State legislatures could do this on their own, and some have even moved in this direction, like, of course, Arizona, Maryland, Nebraska, New Mexico, and Ohio. Prevent property transfers to the federal government for forfeiture unless seized assets are worth more than a threshold amount, ranging from $25,000 to $100,000. The intent is to keep the focus on major operations rather than petty criminals, which, yeah, petty crime is a crime out of the economy. If you paid people better, if you gave them real, like, living conditions, Pompeo might have gotten Reef. That's a good thing. You know, we did talk about Julian Assange, so that could have zapped my internet, but it might be a filter or something that says that. Anyway, New Mexico also bars state and local agencies from keeping equitable sharing proceeds for themselves, which reduces the perverse financial incentives. That's assuming they report it at all. But a lot of times they're just denying it and running the clock out and keeping the money. But these are steps in the right direction. But so far, no state has completely prohibited equitable sharing. The financial incentives to continue the program are just too high. Policing for Profit, which is a national report from the Institute for Justice, shows equitable sharing payments top $8.8 billion during the 20-year span from 2000 to 2019. So you have this guy, David B. Smith. He's a Yep, thank you. Oh, we're on a real delay here with our friend Reef. That was about a 3-second delay. Okay. So David B. Smith, who is a Virginia-based...
We'll fix it after.
Yeah, no, we're just going to have to probably switch to a different platform besides Discord, whether it's StreamYard or somewhere else. But, yeah, that's probably what's going to end up having to happen, unfortunately. All right. Anyway, David B. Smith, a Virginia-based attorney.
Bro, just finish the story. Thank you.
He supports forfeiture reform, says law enforcement agencies have grown dependent on that revenue. Yes, they have. Once they get used to it, they become addicted to it and had to have it. And that's where the loophole is most noticeable, which is in St. Louis Public Radio. So the Missouri state constitution directs all forfeiture proceeds to schools, but police agencies prefer to keep the money for themselves. So they use equitable sharing to circumvent the requirement. Missouri police agencies provided just $202,000 to schools in 2018, while keeping more than $9 million for themselves through equitable sharing. Susan Goldhammer, she's an attorney for the Missouri School Board Association. She says that the children ultimately suffer. No. The children don't suffer by cops not stealing from people. That's nonsense garbage. A lot of this $9 million that they just stole of people's property is not legitimate. and I don't want to go into schools, and I don't want to go into cops. I don't want to go into anywhere. I don't want to be taken. I don't want to hear about them having school districts that don't have air conditioning. That's not the problem of petty criminals that are having their shit taken from them by dirty fucking cops. Sorry, Susan Goldhammer. Of course, she's an attorney. She doesn't really understand the problems. Thank you, but no, I'm out. Similar workarounds occur in North Carolina. The state bans civil forfeiture entirely, but police agencies use equitable sharing to circumvent the restriction, and they collected more than $293 million for themselves in the 20-year span. Presumably, the money goes toward police equipment and training, but no one even knows for sure. Nice. It goes into a black hole. That's even better. North Carolina does not track seized property or publish statewide forfeiture reports. Holy shit. No. Of course.
Yep.
We're freezing and we're buffering and no. Hi everybody. I don't know what you've heard, but I'm getting really freaking aggravated right now. I have no internet. We have no live stream. And I don't know what to do. I'm ready to can this because we have no stream. Shit. Federal reform is necessary to end abuse like this. Federal equitable sharing must be abolished. People like Starling deserve better.